This edition of the Rusty Humphries Rebellion is brought to you by an incredible, unbelievable, magical book. A book called 7 Ways to Debate. Win political debates with your liberal family and friends and still keep them as family and friends. What more could you want on an incredible summer evening than to be able to beat one of your liberal friends who's nothing but a jackass? And when I say jackass, I mean Democrat. And embarrass them, or just keep them as pals. Get the book at Amazon right now. It's available in paperback and available in audiobook. Go now. Are you ready? Start the show. Here we go. Let's start the show. Here we go.
He's been put down, ripped off, cut open. Now he's unleashed. The American insurgency starts now. This is Rusty Humphries Rebellion Radio.
Hello and welcome. How are you? My name is Rusty Humphries, and this is the Rusty Humphries Rebellion. We are broadcasting live on Facebook, and love for you to check in. Who are you? Where are you watching from? Be a part of the program. Now is the time. Check in right now. Just write your name. Give us a little love. Pass it along. We want to see who you are. That's coming up. Also, if you're listening to us on the podcast of Rusty Humphries Rebellion, which is available at iTunes and Stitcher and iHeartRadio and all the great places you can find podcasts, make sure you share the show. And if you're watching, would you please share it now too? This is not going to be a long show. I've got a lot going on. I'm heading to San Diego tomorrow, and I'll be broadcasting from San Diego for the rest of the week. But I got to get ready, so there's a lot going on. Would love to check in. Let's see. Ricardo's checking in. Hey, Rusty, my brother, how are you? I'm good, Ricardo. Dalton is in Ohio. Eileen says, yes, if he doesn't, who will? Our namby-pamby Congress? Because my question is, right from the beginning, should President Trump should President Trump threaten our enemies? I'd like to know from you. We're going to talk about that in a second. I would like to talk about some sad news. The passing of a legend and friend. Not going to get into it too much tonight. Well, I mean, I do want to spend a moment. And that is with Glen Campbell passing today. Glen Campbell, I believe he was 81 when he passed. And he'd been sick for a long time. And I know there's a lot of people that are probably watching this going, who's a Glen Campbell? Well, we're going to talk about that. I've known Glenn for years. It's been a few years since I've seen him. He actually was such a close friend. He sang at my wedding. Got a couple of pictures here. Let me pull it up here for you. See, there's Glenn. See, we're all, I look terrible there, by the way. Can I blow this up at all? Probably. So you can see I'm in a tuxedo. I look terrible. And then right here, this is my best man. This is Max Bayer Jr. He was Jethro from the Beverly Hillbillies. and then as we're all in tuxedos, looking good in the wedding, there's Glenn wearing the Hawaiian shirt and flip-flops. Thank you very much, Glenn. And there's Glenn, and there's Max, and it was a great wedding, and I'll never forget. The night before the wedding, and my wife is all nervous. My bride-to-be is all nervous, and she's like, so what song is he going to sing? I said, well, he's a celebrity, so celebrities can kind of pick it. So I'm figuring it's either going to be Rhinestone Cowboy or Dreams of the Everyday Housewife, one of the two. And she just lost it. I didn't know what Glenn was going to sing, but he sang a song called A Lady Like You. It was one of the most beautiful moments of my life. He could not have been more on tune, more it was perfect. He was perfect. And for people who don't know Glen Campbell, I'm not sure that if Glen Campbell came out today, if he would have been as big of a star. It was a different era in the 70s. And it's a shame because I think today's music kind of, what's the word? Kind of, sucks. That's the key. Not all of it, but a lot of it. And I think, Glen Campbell's music was simple, but not in a that anybody could do it kind of way. It was simple melodies that told stories, that meant something. Glen Campbell was one of the greatest guitar players in history. Glen Campbell was part of the great musical background group of the 60s and 70s called the Wrecking Crew, and did more hits than all the Beach Boys songs. Matter of fact, if you've got Netflix, do yourself a favor tonight and watch a movie called The Wrecking Crew. If you like music from the 60s, 50s, 60s, and 70s, you've got to watch this movie. It's one of the great documentaries ever. And Glen was a big part of it, but this was the engine of so many of the hits that you know and love. I want to play just a little bit of Glen Campbell music, and then we're going to get to North Korea and Trump. Everybody knew the song. There was a song he did that was a big hit called Rhinestone Cowboy, and that was a great song. Maybe I'll play that to go out with later on. But there was a song that I love that is just so simple, and you close your eyes and you can picture the story. It's a song called Southern Nights. And it's one of my all-time favorite songs, and I just want to play a little bit of it for you here. This was from one of the big TV shows in the 70s called The Midnight Special. He sang it live, and let me play it for you here on the Rusty Humphries Rebellion.
Southern nights, have you ever felt a southern night? Free as a breeze, not to mention the trees, whistling tunes that you know and love so. Southern nights, just as good even when closed your eyes. I apologize to anyone who can truly say that he has found a better way. Yeah. Southern nights, have you ever felt a southern night? The southern sky. Well, its precious beauty lies just beyond the eye. It goes running through your soul like the stories told of old. Old man, he and his dog that walked the old land. Every flower touched his cold hand as he slowly walked by. The weeping willows would cry for joy. Joy. Feels so good, it's a frightening wish I could stop this world from fighting. Mystery like this and many others in the tree. They blow in the night in the southern sky.
I'm going to play the whole song.
Southern night, they feel so good, it's a frightening wish I could stop this world from fighting. Night.
Southern Nights, one of my favorite songs. And before the end of the night, we'll play a little of Rhinestone Cowboy, too. I just wanted to acknowledge he was a great guy, had a great sense of humor. I haven't talked to him in about 5 or 6 years. He started having Alzheimer's and did a last tour a couple of years ago. I guess that's the last time I saw him. And he was forgetting stuff then. And anyway, that's tough. And then, an update on my dad, and then we're going to get to work here. My dad had a surgery yesterday. He had surgery. It was a 7-hour surgery, and he's doing okay. He's very miserable and cranky. Although it's kind of funny because he's still on, if you've never been under anesthesia, and I have for a surgery, it takes a few days and sometimes weeks to get over it. And at one point he goes, "Hey, yeah, Dad, what's going on? Hey, you want to build a raft?" What? You want to build a raft? Yeah, really. Look forward to building a raft anytime now, Dad. Look forward to it. Okay. Let's see here. A lot of folks saying nice things about Glen Campbell. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Pat thinks he was a looker too. Yeah. And anyway, thank you for your kind words about my dad and kind words about my friend Glen Campbell. And I'm going to miss him for one. Big story in the news. North Koreans are threatening. President Trump bluntly warned North Korea against making any more threats to the U.S., saying our country, or his country, will be met with the fire and fury like the world has never seen. From the Wall Street Journal today, within hours of Mr. Trump's comments, North Korea made its most specific threat against the U.S. yet. Through its official media, North Korea said it was considering firing missiles at Guam, U.S. territory in the Pacific, and making the U.S. the first to experience the might of strategic weapons of the DPRK. That's the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, North Korea's official name. Mr. Trump's stark comments reflect a deep concern within the administration about both the program North Korea has made in recent months of progress on its nuclear weapons program, as well as provocative statements this week that seemingly rejected negotiations over curbing that program. The president's brief remarks at his golf course in New Jersey likely were aimed at both North Korea, at which this week openly threatened to use nuclear weapons, and at China, in the hopes of alarming the Chinese into doing their part to enforce the new UN economic sanctions against North Korea. Senior Trump administration official says Tuesday that Washington should not assume it will be able to contain North Korea with nuclear-armed intercontinental ballistic missiles through traditional deterrence programs. We are not going to allow North Korea to hold American cities hostage, the official said. Okay, let's get into this now for a minute. The left is in a panic. Oh my God, Trump has threatened North Korea. We're all gonna die. Trump is evil. He's gonna send off nuclear missiles. Right. That's exactly what we want our enemies to think. And that's the problem when we had that pussy Barack Obama. And I'll say it, excuse my language, but I'm going to say it again. He was a pussy. Of course, what would Obama do in the negotiations? Well, of course, we would never do nuclear missiles ever. We'll take that off the table. You wussy. You always want your enemy in any negotiation to think you're going to do the worst possible scenario. For example, let's just take it in your life. If you're negotiating for a job, or you're negotiating for a raise, you have to have in your mind when you walk in that you're prepared to walk out. You'll walk out without the job. You'll walk out without the raise and find another job. You'll walk out without the deal, whatever it is. You have to have that in your mind to be able to negotiate properly for yourself. If you don't, the person you're negotiating with will beat you. They will. They will sense your weakness, and you will not get what it is that you want. Now, we are talking about a much bigger scale, of course. But North Korea and Kim Jong-un, the little candy-ass, wussy leader of that country, he doesn't know anything else. He doesn't know any better. And he doesn't care about anybody but his own power. And there's a lot of people there whispering to him, "Oh, you're the greatest. Oh, you're like a god." I mean, they really believe in that country that he doesn't go to the bathroom. And that his father played golf on his first time he ever played golf and hit 18 holes in one. Wow, that's pretty good. You have to have a threat like that, and you have to be prepared to follow through. You have to hope that the other guy backs down. But you have to make it very, very clear that if North Korea even comes close to thinking about firing a missile with a warhead on it at one of our pieces of land, at one of, that's it. We will unleash, and I'll use Trump's words because he's right. We will unleash a fire and fury like the world has never seen. Again, we don't want to do it. God forbid we have to. But we can no longer allow countries like North Korea and Iran to dictate to the world their craziness, their murderous intentions. Because if we do and we allow cowardice to take over, I promise you, dictators like Kim Jong-un and the Ayatollahs of Iran, they will do everything they can to take over the world. With North Korea, they want the peninsula. They'll go after South Korea, which is in the top 10. I don't remember what number it is, but it's one of the most powerful economic engines in the world. I mean, that's one thing where you could see the difference between capitalism and communism. You just look at that line. You know, when they had the Korean War, when both those countries were pretty equal. And since the Korean War, where North Korea is just a crap hole and South Korea is one of the great economic engines of the world. So capitalism works. Communism doesn't work. We know this, unless you went to college where your idiot professors, "Oh, no, communism is pretty good. That Karl Marx, he's a pretty sharp dude." No, he wasn't. He was an idiot. All right, let's take a look at what some of the fine comments are. Scott says, "I have a question. Now that we know he has a miniaturized nuclear weapon that can fit in one of his ICBMs, what are we supposed to do if he launches another ICBM test? How would we know if there was a nuclear tip on it or not? And another question is, how do we know which direction it's going to go upon launch?" Good question. I believe you can tell on the tip. Again, I'm not a nuclear scientist or a military expert when it comes to nuclear war. I am more of I've studied more of the Middle East and what's going on with Islamic terrorism. But I believe there is a signature, nuclear signature, that we would be able to see from a satellite very, very instantly if that was a hot tip. If there was a nuclear weapon on that, I'm pretty sure we would. We also have the Star Wars program up there, and hopefully that would knock that missile down pretty quickly. And we've been working on that for a while. I actually saw that one of those tests one time. It is absolutely amazing how that thing works. But they have to know. The world has to know we cannot and will not stand for this anymore, period. Let's see here. Beverly said, if the prior idiot, President Obama, would have done his job instead of vacationing and using drugs, the fat creep would not be able to threaten the world. Obama didn't really do much with North Korea. The Clintons did a lot with North Korea. And you know what? Bush did too. Everybody thought, if we just give them some food and we give them oil and we just help them out just a little bit, maybe they'll be nice. They're not going to be nice. Ever. Bradley says, light them up. They hate us anyway. Not a reason to light them up. Again, we do not want to have to fire a nuclear weapon. That's not what we want to do. It's the last case scenario. But we cannot allow Kim Jong-un or an Ayatollah or anybody else to threaten the rest of the world. And if they do anything, we have to, again, fight back with fire and fury like the world has never seen. And it's a terrible thing to think about. God forbid. And by the way, Democrats, thank you. Thank you, dumbasses. Thank you for making it so that Vladimir Putin, who could have been a natural ally in this situation, now won't talk to us. Thank you, Democrats. Thank you for making such a excuse my language, bullshit threat and allegation against Trump with absolutely no proof, no evidence at all. Thank you for making it so that the second most powerful country in the world will not come to our aid because you've pissed them off by accusing them of a bunch of stuff and then forcing the Trump administration to sign a bunch of sanctions. You dumbasses. Oh, but Putin's a bad guy. Putin's not a great guy, but Putin ain't as bad as Kim Jong-un, and Putin ain't as bad as the Ayatollahs, and Putin ain't as bad as ISIS. You idiots. That's what I think. Scott thinks war is inevitable. I do not believe that. Harold says he's not threatening anyone. He is letting them know if they use a missile against one of our allies, North Korea will cease to exist, period. I agree with that. He is not threatening them. What he's threatening is, if you do this, unlike Obama, well, there's a red line in the sand, and if they cross that red line, we're going to do something. And he didn't do jack. And so what did that do? That allowed Syria to know America wasn't going to get involved, and Assad continued and made it worse and opened up the vacuum and made it easier for ISIS to exist. Nice job. Tim is checking in from Washington State. Angel says there's no good option left. Pull out American families in South Korea and get on with it. That's the other thing that people don't realize. How close Seoul is to the border of North Korea and South Korea, and how many American troops are there. And we don't want to see 30,000 Americans get obliterated because Kim Jong-un is going to have a temper tantrum. And because we do not have enough on that border to fight him back. We would have to do a retaliatory strike, and I don't want to see that happen to our soldiers. I know you don't either. George says, Martin Hernandez, well said, he says, when someone in power says something, it's not a threat, it's a warning. The North Koreans threaten the whole world. George is from Mexico. Peace to the U.S. Hey, George, thank you. By the way, what do you think about, okay, George, if you're from Mexico, do you hate Donald Trump, and is he just a big old racist against Mexicans? I'm very curious your thoughts if you're checking in from Mexico. Dave says, hey, Rusty. Chuck says, if it heads our direction, we will know by radar and the nuclear hot tip. They will know. See, that's what I said. Don says we are testing in October. I'm guessing we're talking about the Star Wars program. John says, this is what we've been missing in the White House. Mr. President, take them out. Karen says Obama made us a weak nation. Don says Hillary sold reactors to him. That's true. Stefan says President Trump had and has the abilities to read the people. He is not going to jump at war, but he knows to deal with bullies, you have to act like one. If he's going to be at war, better sooner than later. Again, hopefully never at all. But we have a responsibility to kick this bully right in the nuts and make sure he doesn't continue. Tim says, drop the mother of all bombs on Kim Jong-un in the next parade. Jason says, we have spent billions upon billions since the Korean War. It's long past time. They have picked on the South over and over again. I think it's time, and I believe our government knows it too. I was there. I saw this crap firsthand. George says, oh, no, sorry, Rusty, I wasn't clear. He was translating for Mr. Hernandez. Oh, thank you, George. I appreciate that. All right, do me a favor if you would. Would you please share this video? Would you please let people know what we're talking about here? This is important stuff. I want to know from you right now. First of all, share this video. Give us some interactions. I want some comments in just a second. I want the thumbs up. I want the hearts. I want the anger. Whatever the emoji is. Hit it a bunch of times really quickly, if you would, please. share the video. I'm going to ask you a very important question right now. If you're listening to us on the podcast, thank you. Please share this podcast. What would you like to see the United States do with North Korea? Do we ignore them? Do we put more sanctions on them? Do you think President Trump has done the right thing by talking tough? Or do you think he's being wrong? He's being too mean, too forceful. We need to let the UN take over and let them handle this. I would really like to know right now, please. Comment right here on the Facebook page. Comment on the podcast page. This is your chance to be heard. We have tens of thousands of people around the world watching right now, listening. We are on Facebook, YouTube, iTunes, Stitcher, iHeartRadio. The list goes on and on and on and on. This is one of the most widely distributed podcasts and videocasts in the country, soon to be the world. And now I want American citizens to send a message. Send a message to President Trump. Send a message to Kim Jong-un. Send a message to the UN. What is it that you think? Right now, comment here. Let's see here. By the way, okay, as you're doing that, let me ask you one more thing. Would you please do me a favor? I have my book on sale until the end of the month, and then I'm going to raise the price. I'm doing this because it's summertime. I want you to have some summer reading that's going to help you in the holidays. I'm not kidding. It's a fun book, but it is a book that can change your life. Not a big book. I think it's 80-something pages. It's called 7 Ways to Win Political Debates with Your Liberal Family and Friends and Still Keep Them as Family and Friends. It is one of them. I've never written a book before. I will be writing more. But this is an important book. It's not as important as the Bible or anything like that. But it is a book that's going to help you deal with people who don't agree with you politically. There's a lot of jackasses out there, and all they want to do is hate. I'm tired of the hate. I want to give you the tools to stop them in their tracks, to either embarrass them so they won't continue their bullying of you and your family and friends, teach you the tools to stop what's happening, or how to embarrass them so much they'll never want to tangle with you again. So again, I'm basically giving this thing away. I think it's $7.99 in paperback. I think it's like $2 or something in ebook, and the Audible version is a little bit under $5. It's nothing. It's only available Amazon. Go there right now. Amazon.com. Type in my name, Rusty Humphries, Humphries. You'll find it there. Type it in. Get that book. You can download it instantly. You can be reading it in 2 minutes if you get the Kindle version. You can listen to it right away. And by the way, if you've never subscribed to Audible, go to Audible right now. Get my book and sign up for it. Yes, you can give them your credit card and stuff. And if you do that, they'll give you my book for free. I love audiobooks. And try it out for a couple of months. And if you don't like it, cancel. But it's a great way to get my book for free. And I read it, and I think you'll enjoy it. Okay? Thank you. I do appreciate it. It means a lot to me. Just as it means a lot to me that you'll check out our sponsors like Australian Dream Arthritis Pain Relief Cream and our new sponsor, DerMend, which is moisturizing anti-itch lotion, and it works great for seniors. And seniors, if you're losing the moisture in your skin, this really, really makes a difference. It's great stuff. It's called DerMend, DerMend, and you can find it at CVS, Walmart, Walgreens, and great retailers like that. Okay, let's get on with it, shall we please? Let's see here. Let's go. Okay, Jay says, okay, my question is, What would you like to see President Trump do now with the North Koreans? What would you like America to do? What would you like the North Koreans to do? What would you like to see the UN do? Do you want us to get out of the way? You want the UN to take over? Do you think Trump's doing it right? Is he being too mean? What is your take right now? Here we go. Jay says, wait and see policy got us here. Not working. Christina says, we now have a real leader. Thank you, Mr. President. Scott says, okay, we already talked about that. Nathan says, I say wipe out all North Korean military bases. Wipe them all out. The people will be better off, but what will China do? That's the question. That is the question. Fred has shared the video. Thank you, Fred. Still shared the video. Thank you, Still. Gail says, promises are not threats. Talking about Trump and what he said about destroying North Korea should they attack Guam. Sue shared the video. Thank you, Sue. Dawn shared. Janice shared it. Thank you. Patrick shared it. Mark shared it. Mike says, crush them. George says, I am a Cuban-born, naturalized U.S. citizen. Grateful to be here. First of all, welcome. I don't know, you've probably been here a while. But you went through the process. You've been naturalized. You're a citizen. God bless you, brother. Thank you. And thank you for being here and hanging out with us on the Rusty Humphries Rebellion here on Facebook and on the podcast. Thank you, George. I appreciate it. It means a lot to me. Thank you. Bradley shared the video. Scott thinks we need a naval blockade. Ronald has shared the video. Ronald, you rock. Nathan rocks. Shirley rocks. Don says, no, we cannot be easy on them. That's what got us here. Still says, first we need to talk to Russia. Okay. Janice says, build a wall. Where would we build the wall for North Korea, Janice? We have the demilitarized zone in the north and south, but we're talking nuclear weapons and ICBMs here, man. Wall's not going to help much, unfortunately. Mike says, I don't want my children's generation dealing with North Korea. Let's get it done. Yes. Patrick says, leave the UN out of this. Patrick's right. Dario says, being China wants to be the superpower, China is the country that should deal with it. Yes. Don says, best thing to do with a bully, punch him in the face. Peggy says, share and no to the UN. That's what the globalists want. Follow through on these threats. It's the only way to be a leader. T. Wayne says, I stand with my president. Neil says, if we cut off all their borders like we did with Cuba, it may work. James says, President Trump has to stand strong. If he doesn't show he's not going to back down from protecting America, it's over. Lyndon says, capture George Soros and all of his globalist scum brethren and shoot them right square in between the eyes. They're the world's real problems. Dave says, I need that book. Dave, yes, you do, and I love you for saying that. Thank you. I sure appreciate it. Let's see here. Noel says, hello. Aileen says, lots of haters today. Nathan says, okay, Aileen, are you talking about, hey, is there haters on watching because you think of them trying to protect the world from Kim Jong-un as haters? Or are there people commenting against us? I can't read all this stuff all the time. Are you saying that there's trolls and they're haters? I'd like to know. If you think that people that want to stand up for our country and protect the world are haters, you could be more wrong. I just don't know how. Let's see here. Nathan says, stop at the book. Let us learn to like you first, then sell later. Nathan, I've been doing a show for 30 years. I've had the 6th largest talk show in America. I've been doing the Facebook thing for 5-6 months. Welcome. The thing is that there's always new people, brother. Always new folks. And if you're new, thank you for being here. And I'll do my best to make you like me and enjoy what we're doing. But hey, you're not paying to do this. I'm not getting paid by Facebook to do a show every day. So I got to feed the family. And it's a good product. So I don't feel bad about doing that. But thanks for bringing it up. I appreciate it. Larry says, shut them down. United Nations get involved with strong actions. United Nations never do strong actions, Larry. That's the problem. The other thing I learned when I was in Africa, I was in Sudan and Darfur. The UN was sitting in Sudan, just tons of them. And I said, why aren't you in Darfur? And they said, well, we have to be invited. What do you mean you have to be invited? Yeah, we cannot just go into any country we want. We have to be invited by that country. So you mean to tell me if there's some dictator and he's slaughtering everybody that he finds, and you're not invited by that dictator, you, the United Nations, can't go in and help the peoples? No, we can't. Okay. So I have very little faith in the UN. Let's see. Alex says, the whole U.S. should stand up and threaten all who threaten the USA. The president, the Congress, all of the government and military have taken an oath to protect and serve and stand by America. Oath to go against foreign and domestic enemies. Great point. Jim says, yes, there's way too much hate out there today. Who's hating? Christina says, pull our troops out. If you launch a long-range missile, we will shoot it down. Our commander-in-chief is right. How much is the book? Eileen, it's nothing. Like I said, I'm practically giving it away. Go to Amazon, type in my name, you can find it. Angel says, I have a nephew stationed in South Korea. No good options left. Is it true that American families have to be out by September 1st? I have not heard that. That could be. Today was kind of a busy day for me. I'm traveling to San Diego, and my dad was in the hospital. I had not heard that. It could have happened, but I didn't hear that. Linda says, in all capital letters, unsubscribe me, with a lot of exclamation points. I didn't subscribe you, Linda. Sorry. I didn't do it. By the way, what is it that would be so horrible about what we're talking about? I mean, we are discussing the fate of the world and options. I mean, I'm telling you my opinion, but I want to hear your opinion. If, Linda, you think that we should let Kim Jong-un go and blow up other, innocent women and children around the world, you've got a forum to say it, as long as you say it respectfully. I mean, what I hate is people coming up, yeah, you're a dumbass, and everybody else who disagrees with me is a dumbass, and you're a bad person. That is, or swearing and stuff like that. That I don't have any time for. But if you have an honest opinion that's different, great. I want to hear different opinions. I believe in everybody speaking and sharing their opinions. What I don't like is trolls who sit around and hide behind the computer and I'm going to say something naughty. That I have no respect for. Bradley says, we don't have to nuke them to light them up. Oh, okay. Let's see. Dario says, if China refuses, then it's cyber warfare. Oh, now, see, that would be interesting. Hit them with cyber warfare. Dan says, don't confuse hate with being fed up. Good point. Peggy says, got your cream today. So far, so good. Oh, the jokes, I could say. But I'm guessing you're talking about Australian Dream Arthritis Pain Relief Cream. Thank you, Peggy. I appreciate it. Jason says, we should cut off everything we possibly can. Something will give. He will stand down and launch a nuke. There needs to be a change. This has gone too far. Maria says, Univision and Telemundo are like CNN with fake news and terrorism, my people, with deportation. Sorry about that. Sue says, I would like to see the lines of communication open up with Russia and get back on track. And if and when the little fat guy strikes Guam in any way, or any of our other allies, strike and kick their butts so they would think again before they do anything or say anything again. Obama did this to us. He was such a weak, lily-limp-wristed man. He should have acted like a president, but didn't. Kevin says, if you don't like the show, don't watch it. Thank you, Kevin. So that's the other thing. You have freedom of choice. There's a lot of people that enjoy this. I enjoy being here. I enjoy talking with you. If you don't like it, that's fine. You don't have to watch this. The Flippers on some channel, I'm sure. Leave It to Beaver. It's a good program. Go watch that. You could watch the Young Turks. You see the Young Turks? You ever watch those guys? They're liberals. Sank Unger or whatever. I don't know his name. This guy, I saw today, he got like $20 million for his little lousy internet radio show and video cast. I mean, it's lousy. $20 million? I don't know who he's conning or what they think they're going to get, but good luck getting your money back on that one. Send Kissinger over there for one last try. Jerry, how old is Kissinger? Is he 100 yet? Bradley, Law and Order must share our strength. Teresa has shared it. Thank you. Anna shared it. George says, God bless you, Rusty. Thank you. Let's see. Martin about drinking. All right. Let me read one more long one here. And then I'm going to move on. Gary says, y'all know the Korean leadership is worshipped like a god by the people. They are trained from preschool to hate Americans. They teach they won the Korean War. The people work 7 days a week. They have extremely strict government rules. No computers, 3 or 4 TV channels. That only shows what is allowed by the dear leader. They must all wear clothes and haircuts chosen by the government. Most don't have jobs or cars or money. They're starving. Most of the cities are run down. No upkeep. Most don't have electricity. Children play in the streets because there are hardly any cars. Most can afford a car. Most can't afford a car or even a taxi. There are statues of current and past leaders everywhere. In school, they teach everything about the royal family, his family, all past leaders. All international tourists must stay in one single hotel, which is on an island, so that outsiders can't roam anywhere without a tour guide. They are very limited in what they are allowed to see. They never show the true poverty of the people. Pictures and video are prohibited by tourists. Anyone who disobeys or speaks out against the rules are imprisoned, tortured, or killed. You're right, Gary. I mean, how about that one kid that he got a poster, a propaganda poster, and then they imprisoned him, they killed him? I mean, it's pretty sick. And Mike says, send old Dennis Rodman over there. Well, guys, Aileen says my son works there. Eileen, is it your son is in North Korea? Did you hear that he was told to get out by September 1st? I hadn't heard that. Jeffrey's from Corpus Christi. Everybody, I appreciate all of you. Thank you very much. Larry wants to know who threatened who. Well, the threat was from North Korea, and Trump just said, if you do it, you'll be destroyed. Again, what was the exact quote? The exact quote was, if North Korea made any more threats to the U.S., saying your country will be met with fire and fury like the world has never seen. Is that a threat, or is it something that is a way to clear up the mess? There's no easy answer to this, but I think standing tall and standing strong and standing by a compass that says, if you attack America, that's it. You're done. There won't be any second chances. We're not going to ask you to ask for forgiveness. You can't say you're sorry. It's just, that's it. And it's not done because we want to do it. It's because we don't want to do it. That's what I think. Let's see here. Okay. Can I play one more Glen Campbell song? Again, if you're just joining us, Glen Campbell died today. He's a great singer in the 60s and 70s. He was a good friend of mine. He was one of the kindest people I knew. He was a gentle soul. He had some problems early on. He had a drug and alcohol problem, but he overcame it and was just one of the kindest, most wonderful human beings I'd ever known. So kind, he came and sang at my wedding. And he passed away today. And I know you're seeing stuff on Facebook and messages, but I want you to hear one of his great hits, one of his great songs that I believe should live on throughout time. It was his song called Rhinestone Cowboy here on the Rusty Humphries Rebellion.
I've been walking these streets so long, singing the same old song. I know every crack in these dirty sidewalks of Broadway, where hustle's the name of the game, and nice guys subway token and a dollar tucked inside my shoe. There'll be a load of compromising on the road to my horizon, but I'm gonna be where the lights are shining on me, like a rhinestone cowboy, riding out on a horse in a star-spangled rodeo. Rhinestone cowboy, getting cards and letters from people I don't even know, and offers coming over the phone. Like a rhinestone cowboy, riding out on a horse in a star-spangled rodeo.
Glen Campbell passed away today. He was 81 years old, and just, again, one of the kindest human beings I've ever met in my life. One of the most talented human beings. He was one of the original guitar players for the Beach Boys. And I'll tell you one more time, look for a movie on Netflix. I think it's still on there. It's a documentary. It's called The Wrecking Crew. And if you love music from the 60s and 70s, you have to watch this movie. I'm telling you, it's a film that just tells you how they made and who made all the hits that you loved. Do you think the Beach Boys played on their records? The Monkees? Sonny and Cher? Partridge Family? You know, I mean, the list goes on and on and on. A lot of people you think were playing their instruments weren't. And a lot of times that was Glen Campbell and this group called the Wrecking Crew. And let's see, I'll show you the logo if I can find it here. The Wrecking Crew. Here we go. And it's a documentary. It's one of the best documentaries I've seen in a long, long time. And let's see here. Oh, you know what? Oh, look, they have a... let me play the trailer really quick, and then I'll get out of here. I'll play the trailer of the Wrecking Crew movie, because it's really so good. Here we go. Let me play it. Full screen it here. As it takes forever. Here we go. Magnolia Pictures.
When we're ready to sing, we step up at the microphones, and it comes out something like this.
We came in the studios with Levi's and T-shirts, smoking cigarettes. The older guys were saying they're going to wreck the music business.
In the hardcore producing area, everybody knew what went on there. I mean, everybody knew that the best musicians played on all the sessions, but we as the general public didn't know.
They played so well, and they played so well together.
I was in awe of them because of Phil Spector. I pulled my car over the side of the road and said, what am I listening to here?
The musicians were really the unsung heroes of all those hit records.
When I listen to the record, it is so apparent that these guys were just really so good. And you can see why everybody used them.
The Wrecking Crew was the focal point of the music. They were the ones with all the spirit and all the know-how.
We made up a lot of arrangements ourselves.
We would either augment or totally replace a group.
The public was oblivious that there was this secret star maker machinery.
I had no idea that people didn't play their own records until the Monkees came along.
We were so busy.
I was making more money than the President of the United States.
7 records of the year.
It was unbelievable.
Here's the way that The Beat Goes On sounded when we first heard it. La-di-da-da-da. Yeah, I said, uh-oh. The third line I came up with was...
The beat goes on.
They were the stone cold rock and roll professionals, and there may never be a group of that caliber again.
Anyway, that was that movie. The last time I saw it, I looked at Netflix. It was on Netflix, and it's called The Wrecking Crew. It's one of my favorite documentaries ever, and maybe tonight, in honor of the passing of Glen Campbell, maybe you'll put it on and remember Glenn and remember all those great musicians that brought us all the great music that we love so much even today. That's it. Tomorrow I'll be broadcasting from San Diego. I'll be there the rest of the week going to a thing called Rad Fest, which is a top of the line. It's going to be doctors and life extension medicine, and we'll talk a little bit about that. I'll be seeing Suzanne Summers on Friday. I think we'll have her on the show. Jim says if I got the right one, it's still on Netflix. Yep, that's it. That's it. It's a great movie. And as a matter of fact, if you go to my podcast on iTunes or Stitcher, go down and look for, I did an interview with the guy who made the movie about a year ago. And a lot of behind-the-scenes stories, too, you can find on the podcast. So go check that out. That's it. Thank you very much, Grin. We're live at 9 in the East, 6 p.m. in the West. Every night, Monday through Friday, unless I'm busy. I'll try to be there tomorrow. I may be busy, though, but hopefully not. That's it. May God bless you, and may God bless America. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. My name is Rusty Humphries, and this is the Rusty Humphries Rebellion.